This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Kidnappers, a community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.
Good morning, everyone. This is Heiko from the Acupuncture and Air Show. This is the show where I interview acupuncturists from around New Zealand and how acupuncture can help a whole host of different problems. We've got a speaker with us today, Lucinda Milne from Christchurch. Good morning, Lou. How are you?
Great, thanks, Heiko.
And how's everything down in Christchurch?
It's sunny, but it cools southerly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've got, I think, over 700 acupuncturists in our association, Acupuncture New Zealand. Do you know how many we have in Christchurch?
With Acupuncture New Zealand, there's about 50.
About 50.
In Christchurch.
That's quite a decent number. And you've been practicing, 15 years or?
Yeah, I have been practicing 16 years now.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just tell us
started my training about 20 years ago. I was 30 when I started training, so a bit of a late bloomer in that respect. After being in the food industry for about 12 years, so when I decided I wanted to study, I was looking at a few things, and a friend gave me a letter to the open day at the college, and I was intrigued and wanted to know more about acupuncture.
Because
here we are.
Because I heard that when you were studying at college, you used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go to the bakery, you'd bake, and then you'd get to the college about 8 o'clock. Is that true?
If I worked on a Sunday night, I would finish. I usually worked sort of like a Friday and Saturday, and by the time I trained, I was working at Fixed Bakery in Christchurch, so I would finish like on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning early. So I tried and kept it away from my school days, but occasionally it overlapped.
Yeah. Now, just tell us a bit about your practice down in Christchurch. I mean, I presume you're a little bit like me, so that your practice is a mix of match of sort of ACC injury type patients, but then also a fair share of like private type patients. But what's your practice like down there?
So I do a mixture like you, Heiko. I consider myself to be a bit more of like a general practitioner of Chinese medicine rather than specialising myself into one area. I probably do about 50-50 ACC work, and 50% would be private clients. Right. And that's a mixture of anything for like internal medicine type stuff, digestive issues, fertility issues, the occasional dermatology client, just a real mixture of things like treating things like vertigo and migraines and things like that, which we commonly deal with.
Now, what about with the ACC and injuries? Because today we're going to be talking about tennis elbow. Would you say that it's the most common complaint you have from that ACC injury point of view, or is it back pain more common?
For me, I would say shoulders and necks are probably the most common thing that I see through my clinic. Mm-hmm. Sort of neck pain, lower back pain, shoulder, rotator cuff injuries or shoulder injuries. Yeah, but lateral epicondylitis would be up there.
Yep.
Quite often, the tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, carpal tunnels, all of those are pretty common as well.
And I know that our other producer of the radio station, Ken, he will know that, of course, I say acupuncture treats everything, and Jill's still a little bit cautious in her view. But though she keeps meeting people that tell her that acupuncture works, she still doesn't, she's not 100% convinced. But I can definitely say, for in my own experience, and it's hard not to be biased towards it, that acupuncture is probably the superior treatment for tennis elbow. And I know Western medicine doesn't really have a lot to offer, a bandage, steroid, anti-inflammatory drugs, and they basically say time will heal it. But what are you finding with your say patients with tennis elbow, Lou? Are they coming to you first, or have they sort of been down the track and tried other modalities or other treatments first?
Yeah, quite often people have, like, occasionally someone will come and see me first, and that's usually people I've been seeing for quite some time, and I'll be there. In some cases, their primary caregiver. In some cases, they've run the gamut of other treatments first, and that can be a range of, having a steroid shot and it's worn off and the pains come back. For some people it can be a miraculous cure, but for a lot it's not. A lot have been to see physio or had some other type of therapy like that, and it hasn't necessarily been the thing that's helped them. So often people come after excluding all those things and to give acupuncture a go, and often find they have quite good success at actually, having the problem treated.
Now, I know that with some of my patients, some of the common acupuncture points to treat tennis elbow, they're actually what we call, they're on the large intestine meridian, because that sort of, it runs on that outside of the arm there, coming up from the index finger. And then
patients
always look at you sort of quite bewildered and say, there's nothing wrong with my bowels,
Yeah.
And so how do you explain that to your patients, or do you sort of, like, sometimes I just get away with that and say, it treats the nerves, and then they go, okay. But what are you saying?
So I generally don't talk to them about the large intestine meridian. I'll occasionally mention that these are the meridians that run through the area, and obviously large intestine is one of them, but I don't make too large an emphasis on it. So I generally talk to people about it being a stasis issue, where there's tension and build-up in the area at the attachment of the lateral epicondyle. So, and generally what happens is that the energy is disrupted in the area. It's causing pain because there's a lack of flow of energy through the area, and so what we have helping to do is restore the right relationship, restore that flow of chi and blood, and relax the tendons so that they we can actually regulate the elasticity and restore the function, and obviously getting rid of that pain.
Yeah, because one thing what I do like to point out to patients is the difference between, like, a traditionally trained acupuncturist and somebody else that might just do some local dry needling, which is basically just sticking in a needle somewhere close to where it hurts.
Yeah.
And whereas the traditional acupuncturist, is looking at the constitution of the person. We have a look at, why did that arm, why was that so vulnerable to get upset and injured in the first place? Their constitutional reserves of their liver, their spleen, or their stomach energy, whatever is weak.
Yep.
Do you go into that a bit? Do you try to explain to your patients sort of the importance of addressing the constitutional weakness of the patients?
Yeah. So I naturally will treat that. I don't necessarily go into it with people so much. If there's some really obvious things that are standout significant, and I feel like they need to take more action in terms of their diet and lifestyle and other things that they can do to help contribute to, fixing their arm and supporting their energy overall, I definitely will talk to them about it.
Well, let's just get a little bit further. Talk about the moxibustion and the heat for elbow, because I know that the more modern medical scientific approaches are anti-flam. The injury's got inflammation, so we use anti-flam, so something to get the inflammation down. But then Chinese medicine almost does the complete opposite, where we use heat to treat the heat, if you like. Are you using much moxibustion or heat onto the tennis elbow?
Yeah, so when it's appropriate for someone, I do. in some circumstances I do, and in some I don't. So, like, generally, I'll use it for helping to stimulate the circulation of chi and blood. I don't usually use it for treating like for like that.
Mm-hmm.
I will more use it when there's cold stagnation.
Yep, fair enough. Yep.
Leading to pain and stasis of energy in the area.
Yeah. Now, I know many acupuncturists, and I'm one of them. I use a lot of electroacupuncture, which which you can say is sort of like a modern day variation of traditional acupuncture. Now, are you using much electroacupuncture, or are you able to tell us anything about it?
Yeah, I do use electroacupuncture. In fact, I find it particularly effective for treating something like lateral epicondylitis or tennis elbow, as well as electroacupuncture, which I find particularly good, especially when there's really strong pain. And I use it in the initial stages to help bring down the pain. It helps to it helps the system to respond. I find it helps the system to respond a bit quicker, and then I can get into doing some manual therapy on it as well, tendon stretching, to help get that stasis
recovery process
unpacked a bit. Yeah.
All right, look, I think we're just starting to run out of time for our show now, so we might have to leave it here. But I will put up a link on the YouTube to your clinic. So if people want to get in touch with you in Christchurch, they can find you there. And I'm just going to finish the show with a song from a Christchurch-based duo known as Pitch Black. Now, of course, Jill and you would have heard of this duo and have all their albums, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm an old Pitch Black fan from way back.
Oh, okay, you are. I think you're the second person in the universe that I know has ever heard of them. So anyway, I've picked a track called The Reptile Room from their 2000 album Electronomicon. So here we go. But listen, thanks for coming on the show, Lou.
Thanks for having me, Heiko.
And we look forward to again. We're going to talk to you again in a couple of weeks' time.
Nice one.
Okay.
Talk to you then.
This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Kidnappers, a community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.